Alfred Sant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Vice President. I have the following three questions, please. My first one concerns the recent developments of cryptocurrencies. Looking at the way cryptocurrencies are discussed here in Brussels, including your input of last February at the round table on cryptocurrencies, one can see that there's still a lot of skepticism about them, with more focus being placed on the risks than the opportunities. Yet certain derivative contracts do not look less risky or complex from the retail investor perspective. The services sector can still benefit from opportunities arising in cryptocurrencies exchanges. From a positive point of view, what are the advantages at EU level, in your view, of cryptocurrency advances in financial markets? How do you assess the current developments in certain member states on this matter? My second question. Because of the structure and business culture, the access to finance of SMEs, especially in southern Europe, is still very much linked to traditional bank lending. In fact, EU public markets for SMEs are struggling. Europe is producing only half the SME IPOs that it generated before the financial crisis. The Commission, in several studies and papers, has stressed that more should be done to support SME listings on public markets. It has recently launched a public consultation on the matter for stakeholders. What type of measures is the Commission thinking of, and what, if anything, could be concluded by the end of this legislative mandate? My third question follows on what my colleague Nina Gill has already asked you about EU insurers and pension providers that have contracts to customers in the UK and vice versa. The continuity of contracts has emerged as a major Brexit issue because existing arrangements are structured to rely on firms' authorisations to do business across EU member states, as you know. Now, whatever the outcome of the Brexit negotiations, can you give a guarantee to all EU citizens, not firms, citizens, who are holders of private insurance and pension contracts in force with UK firms, that their arrangements will continue to be legally safeguarded and that they will remain in full enjoyment of their entitlements for which they have and are still paying?
First on cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies, as you know, it was also reflected in our fintech action plan. So what is the EU approach to cryptocurrencies? And indeed, we see that this is a promising new development. So we should see how to seize the benefits of cryptocurrencies. At the same time, we also need to be aware of the risks. That's why at European Commission, at my request, the European supervisory authorities updated their warnings to customers about cryptocurrencies, outlining the highly speculative nature of these investments and the associated risks, that they are not guaranteed by anything. It's pure demand and supply, and that there are risks of losing your investments in those cryptocurrencies. The second element, actually the very term cryptocurrency may be misleading because, as for example, ECB has emphasized a number of times, there is only one cryptocurrency, only one currency in the euro area, and it's euro. So we can talk about crypto assets or crypto tokens, and actually what now European supervisory authorities are performing, they are performing a regulatory mapping, because also those crypto assets come with different features and may potentially be subject to different legal frameworks. Then there are some issues which we are addressing on anti-money laundering. It's also part of the anti-money laundering directive that cryptocurrency exchanges and custodian wallet providers should be subject to the anti-money laundering requirements. So there are a number of issues which we need to address when discussing development of cryptocurrencies. Then on the question of SME listing, as I was mentioning, we will come forward with a proposal later this month, and the idea is to facilitate SMEs going to public markets, to reduce barriers to this, to facilitate the use of SME growth markets. So that's one of the priorities which was highlighted in CMU midterm review, and we will put forward a legislative proposal on 23rd of May. Then on the question of continuity of contracts, as I was mentioning, this is one of the areas which is currently assessed by supervisors and regulators, also as a part of the working group which I mentioned. We are certainly working, as you know, to minimize disruption, but we know that in terms of negotiations we are not finished yet, and there are still many difficult outstanding questions. So at this stage I would be somewhat hesitant to give some guarantees because negotiations are still ongoing and the outcome is still not 100% clear. But we are of course working towards an orderly exit and minimize disruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much.